But I'm going to go through that stuff relatively quickly because I know you guys want to see more about trading this trade setup that we trade every day in our trade room and learn how we do it. Well, I'm glad you said old and not old. I'm good, Andy. How are you? Welcome back from the frozen tundra. Actually, you're still in the frozen tundra, right? Even in the middle of summer. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started today. We try to stay on topic here during these events, and if I read the chat or answer any questions from the chat, I'll tend to get distracted. So I actually will cover the chat and won't even be reading the questions. Won't even know if there are any. However, if you want to ask questions, feel free. Lisa and Connor and I think maybe Praveen are all here. We have a number of other traders, including Andy. Andy's been gone for a while, but he's just come back. He's a real good trader, been trading with us. We have a few others here in the room with us today that trade with us. So feel free to ask questions, and the our associates here or our traders will be happy to answer them for you. If you have something specifically for me that you want to ask me about, um, feel free to hold that question, and then I'll take questions at the end to make sure everybody gets their questions answered. And I'll stay, since this is a Saturday, I'll stay as long as I need to make sure that you have all the information that you need. Okay. Now, a lot of us have been in trading for a little while, and even though we can get excited about the opportunities of trading and we find it fascinating and fun and interesting and compelling and a good way to try to generate some income, a lot of us have gotten to a point where we feel like that the markets may just be against us. I mean, so much so that it's a very treacherous place to be, and you almost feel like you're being dared to place a trade because they're just waiting. The market is just waiting there to just take that money from you. So I know a lot of us have uh, either are experiencing that now or have experienced that in the past. And so, werewolf is probably a good example of how we feel like the markets treat us. So, we ask the question, is there a silver bullet? Is there, a lot of people call it the Holy Grail. Is there a silver bullet to killing that werewolf, to killing that uh, thing that's in the markets that's causing it to be such a scary place? So, for those of us that not sure what a silver bullet is or what we mean by a silver bullet, it's an expression that's used quite often that we tend to use it as something that acts as a magical weapon or something that instantly solves a long-standing problem. Now, for many of us, trading has been a long-standing problem. Um, but you know, wouldn't it be nice if we had a silver bullet? Well, there is no such thing as a definitive um, win every time, win every trade, always know exactly what's going to happen in the markets. But there is certainly a way to increase your probability and chances of winning a trade and being actually a more consistent trader, which is really my mission. Okay. So we're going to talk about a potential silver bullet for you. And as it turns out, it actually comes as a combination of of factors that are going on in the markets that create this silver bullet, and this combination, it really goes together as well as just about any combination that you can think of, where each thing individually is fine, but when you combine them, they are more than twice as good as the individual. You know, peanut butter is great, jelly's great, but when you add them together, they're quadruple great. You know, or Lock and Key, or you know, mac and cheese, or milk and cookies. You know, we've got Abbott and Costello. We've got all these different things that we think of that pair together extremely well, to the point where they actually become to us actually one thing. You know, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's one. That's one thing. That's not a combination of things. And so we've actually got something that's equally as good together, and that is order flow and momentum. Okay. Now, just as a reminder, we do have a special going on if you want to take advantage of that special. And I'm bringing this up in the beginning because we only have 5 um, uh, the special where you can get the 1 month VIP access and the 2 months trade room for free with the special, and we only have 5. I think that we did like 2 or 3 on Thursday, so we might only have a couple. So I'm kind of putting this out there for you early. I'll go over this again later, but if you want to take advantage of that special, either go ahead and send us a chat message on our website. If you go to our website, you'll see a little chat thing pop up, and Connor and Lisa are sitting right there waiting for your questions, or you can send an email, and they'll answer those immediately while we're here in this event. Okay, so I just wanted to bring that up for those of you that got here early enough and you want to be one of the first 5 to take advantage of this special. However, the other side of that is we want you to stay tuned for something really exciting. We're doing something new with our VIPs, and we're going to talk about that at the end. This is brand new. This we're very excited about it because this has been a long time in the making, and we've had a lot of people request this new product that we're unrolling today. All right. So let's start this whole thing out by looking at some order flow with momentum trades that we took this week. Okay. So we're going to start right out, and I'm going to go over those. This event is about trading the silver bullet trade. Okay. We actually call it the Rockstar setup. It got that name in the trade room by our traders, and because it is such a rock star. But let me. I just took some trades from this week, and I apologize for the blurriness. I think that's probably blurry for you. This is a zoomed in image or a video from our trade room charts. Our trade room, we record our trade room charts every single day. So the entire trade room session, along with audio and the chat messages and everything that happens in the trade room during the session, is recorded. And and so there's like four hours every single day, every trade room, and we save these. Well, and because of, you can imagine the size of these files and the number of years that we've been doing this, that can require a huge amount of space. So the recording software that we use actually records at a relatively low resolution, and so that's the reason for the blurry videos here. So I just want to let you know about that. So this is something that we see every day. This was this week in the trade room, and this is our Rockstar setups, okay, or our silver bullet. Now, what what I'm going to show you here are some of the trades that were taken in the room. Some of them by me, some of them not by me. This particular one wasn't by me, but because right here you'll see that there's this red arrow and this green line is our resistance. Okay, so because the red arrow is there, that means that it's too far away for me to enter this trade. However, we did have a lot of traders take this trade. So the whole idea here is we're looking for a big push up, the potential for exhaustion. We have an oversold condition, which I'm going to show you all of this in a few minutes. But I want to show you what these trades do on a regular basis. We have this confluence of events. We have momentum changing directions and price drops. Okay? And so this is where a lot of people got into this trade. If you're good, you can get in when it backs up a little bit. And then it drops. Okay? So there's our order flow and change of momentum. This right here is our silver bullet. Point of entry is at the open of this bar or up here if you can get it. And down it goes. Okay? This happens over and over and over again. Same thing. Notice this hard push. We have our velocity indicator saying that price is moving real fast and hard and a lot. We have our speed tick suggesting that the orders, for those of you that were here on Thursday, you'll remember the speed tick saying that the retail traders are unlikely to be able to process orders through the exchanges as fast as the market manipulators can, because those guys have the supercomputers inside the exchanges, right? They have the ability to do things that we can't do. So we can see here that the flow of orders is being manipulated. Processed orders are being manipulated by something that can trade extremely fast. This is very important to us because if they're manipulating this bar, they're doing it for a reason. Okay? Now we have another confluence of events here, and I'm going to talk about both of these indicators here. This is our pullback alert and our ricochet. Both of these are saying that there is a high probability that after this bar, price is going to change directions. And I'll tell you why in a few minutes. Okay, so these are two different indicators right here. They're just laying on top of each other. I've got a major area of support. Price came down, tested the other side of this support, and then pulled back. Okay, so that's where we are right now. Now at this stage, I'm just watching. Okay, I've probably gotten on the microphone and I've told the group I'm watching this setup. I need a divergent signal on the open of the next bar to buy. Okay, there's our divergent signal right there. This is called a McDiver. I put on a buy order here, or actually I think I got it when it dropped back here, so I actually got a little bit better fill here. But a lot of people will put in their order right in here at the open of this bar. Now, why are we waiting for the open of the bar? Simply waiting for some confirmation that the people trading here see this line as support. Okay? And why is that important? Well, the support is hopefully going to slow price down for us if we get into the trade and it wants to go against us. Now look at this. This bar opened and backed right up to that support. This is exactly why I only enter trades with support behind me. If it goes against you, that gives us something to help us in the event that trade goes against us. All right? So there's our little winner right there. That's it. That's our edge. That's our silver bullet. So what do you need in trading? Do you need something that can make you rich, or do you need something that gives you an edge? These lines, these are our FT reset support and resistance lines, are nothing unique. They're nothing that you can't create yourself. These are floor trader pivots. All right, that's it. Now, we also use mid pivots and a couple of other lines. But the reason we look at these lines is because that's what most people are looking at. So what does support and resist, what gives support and resistance lines their power? Why do they work? Anybody? I actually didn't cover up the chat yet. I forgot. So I'll ask you, why do support and resistance lines work? What gives them power? The more people looking at them, exactly. People believe they work, so they do. So I want to look at major areas of support and resistance that other people believe have value. Okay? So that's where my point of entry is right here. Nice little winner there. This is all this week. Okay? This all happened this week in the trade room. All right, so we're looking at a big push. Look at this momentum. Look how hard price is pushing up here. What do we know about momentum? For those that came on Thursday, what do you know about momentum? Just one thing about momentum. That's a given. That's for sure. It can't last forever. Thank you, Horace. It cannot last forever. It's going to stop. So when we see strong momentum like this is huge for us. Okay, so we have strong momentum. We have some extremely fast order flow inside of this bar. Another major line of resistance. We tested the other side, but price couldn't hold, right? And so it dropped back down below this line. I'm only going to trade this, though, if the next bar opens with a divergence signal. This is how I combine order flow with momentum. Okay? Divergence, this signal right here, notice when it came up on the open of this bar. Divergence tells us that even though price is headed in one direction, momentum has actually changed directions. So I'm reading order flow and the fact that momentum has changed directions. Those two things right there are our silver bullet. Down it goes. This all happened this week. And I could just show you this over and over and over again. Okay? So I just made a bunch of videos. I mean, there's more of these. Now, if you want to see more and more and more of these, go to our YouTube channel. I'm just scrolling through these real fast. They just happen all the time, and we're on them all the time. Go to our YouTube channel, and Connor's got it there, and look at our trades of the day. And you'll see this happening over and over and over again. Okay? So I wanted to start out with that so you guys could understand what it is exactly that we're doing and what we're talking about. So when I say order flow, I'm talking about traded volume analysis. So or price action or tape reading. And so how do we do that? In this day and age, we do that with our time and sales windows, right? So we can see the buy and sell orders that are being processed through the markets. Those are our OTS. That's a little helper tool that we use to make quick decisions for us. It's actually anybody that buys the bundle or gets any of our indicators, we give it away for free. It's a little helper tool. It shows you where your targets and stops are, so you can adjust the targets and stops if you want bigger or smaller. so that I know immediately if a line of support or resistance is in my within my rules as far as how far away it can be before I'll take a trade. For example, I won't take a trade if that support or resistance is more than 5 ticks away from my stop. Okay, so I want to make sure that I have a good area uh, for the trade to work out and still get some help from support and resistance without it getting stopped out. So that's what it's there for, just to help make quick decisions. Okay, so order flow. We use time and sales now to do this. And if you've ever tried to use time and sales to trade, you may have found that the rate at which the orders go through and watching is fascinating for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then it's confusing, and then it's hypnotizing, and then it's really hard to use. All right, so this is typically, though, in this day and age, because things happen so fast, we don't have tapes anymore. You know, the tape reading. We have time and sales. Now, I talked about this on Thursday. We have an entire webinar that goes over this. So I'm not going to talk about it a whole lot today. But during market manipulations, this is one way that markets are manipulated, and this is where we take advantage of these manipulations. We have these areas of accumulation and distribution where the market makers are actually very, very busy. To us, it looks like nothing's going on, but the market makers, this is where they make their money. And then they manipulate the market so that they can just make more and more and more money off of us, because we react the same way all the time, and we don't know what's happening. We just know we can't seem to win a trade. So we have these areas of relatively low volume, okay? And things are just kind of chugging along on low speed. Orders are not being processed very quickly. The volume is very low. And we basically feel like nothing's happening in the markets. Like nobody's trading, everybody's off work. We're sitting here staring at nothing, and prices going sideways, and we're falling asleep, doing anything we can to stay awake. Okay? The big boys are actually really busy. But they're busy doing what they do to take advantage of us. Now, we don't really want to trade during this period of time. Okay? Now, when the big boys start manipulating the markets, they still want to do it on relatively low volume, because they know how many of us read volume. That we all have volume on our chart. You know how many people have been so surprised that I don't have a volume indicator on my chart when I trade? Well, these guys know that everybody's looking at volume. So they want to do it very quietly, very stealthily. If they're going to manipulate the markets, they don't want to do it on high volume. However, the way they manipulate the markets is by taking that small volume, but running those orders through very, very quickly through the exchanges. All right, so volume indicators aren't necessarily going to pick this up. I happen to have noticed this when I was studying volume on time and sales, but I also noticed that as the rate picked up, something changed. All right. So I started looking at the time and sales where I could see relatively low volume, but the speed at which the orders were going through was really fast, and I started noticing something. But it was happening so fast. I was trying to make notes real quick and then going back and relating it to the charts. It happened so fast that I had a hard time tracking it. So I had a theory, and so I hired a program, and I said, take this information and create a histogram for me. And the histogram is the best way that we could come up with or think about coming up with a speedometer for simply reading how fast the orders were being processed. And when I say speedometer, this would be something akin to maybe going like 100 miles an hour, that when we hit a certain threshold of 100 miles an hour, that it's highly unlikely that retail traders can trade that fast, right? So because of that, we know that there's likely a manipulation. And when they're likely manipulating the markets, they're doing it for a reason. And so we studied what happens after these manipulations, and lo and behold, price would often pull back right then and there, okay? So what I did is I started noticing that at these peaks on this histogram, that's essentially a speedometer, when these peaks reached a certain threshold, price would stop and turn. So I thought, okay, well, I don't want to have to trade with this histogram on here. I want something that's easier to see and read. So right here, all I print is this little thing right where my eyes are. And this prints in real time on this bar, okay? Not necessarily, Jim, sometimes, but not necessarily. All right, so this is what we're seeing. We're seeing price being manipulated. Oh, by the way, Jim, if you want to ask me that later at when we get to the end, and I can go into more detail. And it's all relative, too. You may see volume go up, but it's relative, all right? So we're going to see price being manipulated. Sellers are taking profits at this point, right? Because prices moved far and fast and orders are being processed. They're like, holy cow, this is a great place to start taking some profits. Buyers are also going, holy cow, this is really happening really fast, and it's going way against me, and I want to get out of this before it goes any further. So either way, what's happening is demand is going to be overwhelming supply, and that's simple economics. When some demand overwhelms supply, price turns. All right? Very, very simple. This is really, really simple stuff. Now, we use an indicator that actually does read the volume. Okay, so we are reading volume, but not just quantity. We're reading certain types of volume. We're using an old concept called volume spread analysis. And you don't even need to know everything there is to know about volume spread analysis to understand that this indicator will, what it's telling you. All right. So here it is in a nutshell. We got two bars here, right? They look identical. So if you're looking at a chart and you're just scrolling through a chart and you see a bar that looks like this, you have no idea what actually happened inside that chart. All you know about is the open, the close, the high, and the low. That's all that a chart's going to tell you if you're scanning around looking at a chart, which is why you won't show me or see me showing you trading charts during these events, because those are smoke and mirrors when people show you trading charts, because so many other factors are in place during trading. If you haven't noticed, if you sit through a webinar where the guy's scrolling through charts and saying, see where this happened here and this happened here and this happened here, and it looks very compelling, and then you go and try to apply that in your own trading and you go, this doesn't work, but it looks so good when that guy did it. That's why I don't show you that. That's why I show you videos, because you can see what it really looks like, what's really happening in the markets, okay? So let's take this bar and say, okay, well, this bar, price open here, maybe dip down a little bit, but then basically the volume came up here and closed up here, and so nothing specific happened, nothing special happened. Now this bar, same quantity of volume, right? Same number of orders, yet price came up here, moved up, and then a lot of buying and selling happened here. It wasn't just a lot of buying and selling happened in here when price reached a certain level. Okay, so we're up in here. Well, this is where a lot of buyers had, or sellers had, orders sitting. Okay, and a lot of buyers are still trying to go with this trend, right? And so we get this fighting. Well, the problem is that these buyers are also going to be suffering from potential exhaustion. These sellers have been sitting here just waiting. So you get a lot of buying and selling. This is called a churn bar. Very, very different than the no churn bar. So volume can be exactly the same, Jim, but have a totally different effect. So we want to only read the important volume. Okay? So when we get this type of activity inside of a bar, where we had a lot of selling, then all of a sudden in here, a lot of buying has been going on. Right? The buyers have been sitting here waiting. The sellers have been pushing it down and starting to get tired, starting to get weak. Same thing here. The buyers have been pushing it up like crazy. The sellers have been waiting up in here, just waiting. Soon as the buyers start hitting their orders, bam, we start getting a lot of buying and selling going on in here. When we get that, that's the type of volume that's important to us. So that's what we print in real time on this bar. As soon as that condition exists, we print this before this bar even closes. All right, now the ricochet. Remember I told you I created a histogram that when we hit a certain threshold, a certain speed, we realized that it's highly unlikely that retail traders were able to trade that fast. So it must be the other guys, the market makers, the manipulators. So I went and I developed the speed tick, and everything's hunky-dory, and we've introduced a speed tick, and we're excited, and we're killing these trades. But I happen to notice when I'm doing this work, trying to develop the speed tick, that when we get a prices or the speedometer is basically, we're just motoring along at a relatively slow rate, and then suddenly, boom, it takes off like a drag racer. Maybe it doesn't hit our 100-mile-an-hour mark, but it was dramatically faster than the previous bars. I noticed then that price would also turn. So I went back and we developed the ricochet indicator. Also an excellent way to read order flow. So is there a day trading silver bullet? I don't know. You decide. You decide. Now let's factor in the momentum. One thing, remember we talked about this on Thursday. What are the things we know about momentum for sure? Cannot be sustained indefinitely. We know it happens at regular intervals. Loss of momentum is predictable, and momentum and price generally move in the same direction, but not always, which is awesome for us. All right, and there's lots of ways of, because of divergence, and there's lots of ways of measuring momentum. All right, there's lots of different oscillators. We're going to look at one real quick. I know we did this on Thursday, but a lot of you weren't here on Thursday. So we're going to do this real quick, and I'm going to show you how an oscillator is created using a very simple algorithm, momentum algorithm, okay? So you look at the bars here, and this particular algorithm says we're going to take the close of this bar, we're going to go back X bars, and in this case it's 10 bars, and we're going to take the close of this bar, we're going to subtract one from the other, which will give us a value that's a point that we can then create on this chart, on this histogram. Okay, so there for this bar, this is the point that we're going to create, and then we're going to move to the right, and we're going to take the close of this bar, the close of that bar, this bar, and that bar, and we're going to subtract one from the other. We're going to get a value, and there's another point to plot. Okay, so we can keep doing this on and on and on every bar, and this gives us points to plot, which creates those oscillators that you see. Now, when you see an oscillator and price, they're typically going to move exactly the same way. But when they don't, that's awesome for us. That's when momentum has shifted directions. All right? And momentum will always, almost always, lead price. That's why they're such a good pair. All right? Order flow and momentum. So we're looking at divergence here. Now divergence, this is price is setting a higher high. This oscillator is setting a lower high. This is suggesting that momentum has shifted directions. We use a number of different oscillators to read momentum, to create this oscillator. You can use any of them you like. We like the RSI, but all of these work pretty good. And in fact, we have a divergence indicator that has all of these in one indicator. All right, so very quickly, we did this Thursday. I'm going to go over it with you again real quick. So let's, excuse me, take an oversimplified graph of price and an oversimplified oscillator. All right, so this is oversimplified just for illustration, but let's say this is a chart, and you can see prices dropping, and then prices coming up, and we've got this slope. And then we've also got the same thing for momentum. Momentum dropping, then it's going up. Okay, and this is very typically how price and momentum work together. All right, you'll notice that they don't diverge from each other. That the slopes stay very much the same. Now let's look at a different condition. Let's look at when they get out of sync with each other. You'll notice now that on many parts along these slopes, they do agree with each other, but on occasion they get out of sync with each other. This is what we're looking for, because this creates a turning point for us. Now for us, we look at, it's generally difficult, and a lot of people maybe try to start trading divergence and realize that, man, that's hard and it's tricky, and you're always kind of wondering if you did it right, because there's lots of different ways to figure out this divergence thing. So if you look at the price and you look at momentum, you might notice that these look very much the same. You've got price just kind of trickling down here. You got price just trickling between these lines. You've got a big drop here. You've got a big drop here. You got a little bump up here, a little bump up here. You got a little hump over here. You got a big uptick there. Okay, so they pretty much look the same, don't they? So you go through and you go, okay, then I'm going to figure out this divergence thing. Okay, so those slopes are the same. Those slopes are both going down. But wait a minute, we missed that one. There's a divergent condition right here, suggesting that even though price is setting a lower low, momentum has set a higher low. And this creates a wonderful opportunity, because we know that when momentum turns before price, price will typically follow. This is huge, huge. I just showed you that. We can skip over that part. It just takes too long. Right, so here's another indicator that we use. and was something that helps us to understand and visualize that momentum can't and won't be sustained. This is an RSI momentum indicator. Now, many of you have heard of overbought and oversold. Don't really know what it means necessarily. But what happens when prices and momentum are kind of running together is you will see this oscillator running between these extremes, these lines. And this oscillator will just run in here. And you know, things are just kind of happening normally, and there's no reason to expect anything to change. Now, we've got these areas where momentum actually exceeds these extremes that we've set. And we get into this area where we're overbought. Well, overbought simply means that all of the buyers are likely to be getting tired at this point. They're ready to start taking profits. Sellers are getting stopped out. Same thing down here. Now, I don't want to have this on my charts just so I can know when this happened. So we developed an indicator that actually goes in and will color the bars, the outline, when this event occurs, so that we can just get rid of this oscillator at the bottom of the screen. Now we know just by looking at the current bar when price is overbought or oversold. And we know to start looking for that pullback, for that resting period. This gives us a tremendous edge. There are trades I won't take unless they're overbought or oversold, because the potential for exhaustion is so important. So we've also developed this indicator in the last few years, couple of years, this momentum indicator to help people to understand. Now I've been doing this a long time, so I don't even need this indicator, but a lot of people find it very helpful that when to read momentum, we've got this indicator that will actually paint these bars black, and then the stronger the momentum, the lighter the bars will turn. Okay, so we've got really strong momentum and an oversold condition. Okay, and we also have some strong velocity, meaning price is changing a lot inside of this bar. So we know that exhaustion is imminent. Imminent, that's fun. How many of you were watching the news yesterday about this has nothing to do with trading? I was watching the news yesterday. I was at the gym, and I saw this thing at the bottom of CNN or whatever was on the screen. And it said something about the bombing yesterday in London. It said another bombing or another attack may be imminent. May be imminent. Does that make any sense? If something is imminent, it either is or isn't. Anyway, I thought that was, well, that's the media for you. I'm not a big fan. All right, so we've got this strong exhaustion. So prices move far and fast. It's created opportunities, and it's created apprehension and fear. All right, so people are cashing out or getting stopped out right in here. When that happens, price can only do one thing. So this is what it looks like. I just showed you. This is what it looks like on our charts. We've got a strong momentum. We've got an oversold condition. We've got order flow suggesting that there's no way retail traders are doing this. So the big boys must be manipulating. This bar hits the edge of our support zone, opens, this bar opened with a divergence signal suggesting that even though price is going this way, momentum has already shifted this way. We put on a buy order at the open of this bar. Again, we do that because we want the safety net behind us in case price wants to back up. And we put on a buy order right here. All right, so we've got order flow and a change in momentum. Happens all the time, and it's been happening for a very long time. Okay? I'm going to show you something here in a minute. Again, here's our pullback alert, suggesting that the volume inside this bar has shifted directions. Lots of buying until we hit this area up in here. Then a lot of buying and selling because the sellers were just sitting up here waiting. Just waiting. Finally got up here and all these orders started firing off. Price accelerated quickly. So we got the ricochet. It also reached a threshold faster than most retail traders could trade. So we've got this speed tick. The open of this bar, we have divergence. Boom. This is confluence. This is what we're looking for. I've got one, momentum. I've got this overbought condition, that's 2. I've got a speed tick, that's 3. I've got a pullback alert, that's 4. I've got the ricochet, that's 5. I've got this major line of resistance, that's 6. And I've got a divergent condition, that's 7. 7 different sources of data. 7 different things going on in the market at the same time suggesting that price has got to pull back at least a little bit. Is it a reversal? I have no idea. But all of these conditions suggest to us that this is going to happen, and that's the edge, and that's all you need to be a successful trader is an edge. Right? So we've got the order flow and the momentum change. Boom. Now, here's something I was going to show you. I found this really interesting. I was looking for that some videos this morning. Look at the date right here. This is the June 2013 contract for the GC. This is what we've been doing. Oh yeah, I forgot to. I had another. That had to come flying in there. You know, I used to go to trade rooms and try to learn how to be a winning trader, and it seemed like every few weeks things were changing, even though, you know, this guy was trying to sell me the best trading system that there was out there in the world. It always seemed to change. And it wasn't just with one guy, it was a lot of them. And they're always trying to come up with some new hook. Well, here was 2013. And I showed you this trades that we took this week. Now, you don't see the momentum indicator because we developed that to help people see momentum. So that has come about in the last couple of years. But look at the trade setup. We have order flow, momentum. Order went on here, boom. Look at all that confluence. This is what I just showed you. This happened in 2013. Nothing has changed for us other than creating a couple of tools that make this even easier. Okay? So right there. I wait for the close of this bar because I'm confirming that this support line has value to the people trading. So I sit here and I watch. I watch price hit it and bounce off, hit it and bounce off, hit it and bounce off. I don't just trust support and resistance lines. That's a mistake because price can just blast right through one, right? Just blasted right through this support line. If I made an assumption that that line was going to offer support, I would have gotten hammered. Look at this one. This one tagged and pulled straight back. All right. So my mission is to confirm that this line has value, that it is actually going to offer support because I can watch it offer support. Once I've done that, at the open of this bar is where I put my trade on. All right. Boom. Look at the confluence. Open of this bar, put on a buy. All right, so the point of all of that is if it works, why change it? We've been doing the same thing for many, many years because it works. We will continue to develop tools to help make it easier, or at least provide as much information as the market will allow or is offering to help make these trade decisions. Andy's been gone for a little while. Where's Andy? Andy, you've been gone. You stepped away from trading for a little while and came back to us, and it's the same, right? So you can come hang out with us in the trade room if you want. For those of you that feel like you need to see this in action, we do have a free 5-day room access. Just go ahead and hit us up, send us an email, and we'll send you what you need to sign up for the trade room. I should say award-winning trade room. Little did we know that we had been nominated for an award on TraderPlanet.com, and apparently we won an award that we didn't even know about. Somebody brought it to our attention, so we're pretty proud of that. So if you'd like to come hang out with us, we got a bunch of friendly people in the trade room. Thank you. We're very proud of that. You'll also notice down here at the bottom, our software that I just showed you also won an award. So feel free to come hang out with us in the trade room. Now, this is the offer that we offered you on Thursday. We're going to keep that offer up. We're going to go ahead and give you some time with the VIP and some time in the trade room. If you're the first 5, we'll do that. A lot of people like this bill me now or bill me later thing with PayPal. So go to our current specials page. Connor just put it in there, and you'll see this. Now, you're also going to see something else. I told you to stay tuned for some exciting news. We've been listening to people for many years ask us if we could please do. They want to do payments on the VIP, but we're not going to do that. We're going to instead provide a subscription service to our VIP program. Now, the VIP program is quite extensive, and in a nutshell, now you can read up on that on that current specials page. There's a link to the VIP program that'll give you more information about what we offer. But basically, you get all the indicators that we use in the trade room. You get anything that we ever add to the trade room as it relates to indicators or NinjaTrader tools or whatever. Here's a little hint. We have a new product that's going to make NinjaTrader so much more better. It's a suite of add-ons that we've developed, and we're in the beta testing phase, and we'll be releasing those soon. Our VIPs will be getting that for free because we'll be using it in the trade room. So, and as soon as that's, thank you, Horace. As soon as that's released, the VIP price is all going up. Everything's going up. So you want to, anybody that's a VIP prior to its release will get it for free. So we have a whole lot of things that are involved in the VIP program, including a group mentoring session. You get unlimited access to the trade room. You get um, VIP support. We're going to sponsor you if you want to try for um, a funded trading account. We'll sponsor you when you're ready. You don't have to do it. You can do it whenever you want. We recommend you make sure you get really good at doing this first. And we have our Fast Forward training program. So it's a self-paced training program that teaches you how to learn this. Okay? This is not a bunch of videos. It's actually a program that teaches you how to work at your trading and gives you a bunch of tools. Horace, have you used the Fast Forward program? Have you started using that yet? Or anybody out here use the Fast Forward program? Any of you VIPs that are here? No? Nobody's listening? What do you think of the Fast Forward program, Andy? Be honest. Everybody knows. Everybody knows I'm just looking for honesty here. It's the fastest way for you to learn how to do the slow, hard work at trading. As it turns out, the slow, hard work is the fastest way to get good at something. Okay? I spent 7 years looking for the easy way, spinning my wheels. Once I decided to knuckle down and really work at my trading, and when I say work at my trading, I mean doing it the same way that you get good at anything. And that is with experience and time. Practice, practice, practice. You think, well, I practice my trading when I come in the morning and I sit down and I wait for trade setups during the market hours and I practice. No, you don't practice during game time. The Fast Forward program teaches you how to practice when you're doing practice, which is not during market hours. We teach all of our traders to practice their trading at other times of the day. It could be at 10 o'clock at night. Anil, we can help you with that. In fact, our guy Praveen, who's here with us today, does that all day long. He helps our clients on, he can go onto your computer while you're there, set everything up for you, set all of the indicators up for you, workspaces, templates, and give you a tutorial of what you need to know. Okay? He does this all day long, every day. He's your go-to guy. So we can absolutely help you with this. Now, we have a kind of different price points for this new VIP subscription. If you own the pullback bundle, then it's only $2.99 a month. If you own our starter bundle, it's only $3.49 a month. If you don't own any of our indicators, it's $5.99 a month. And with it, you're going to get the indicators while you're a subscriber. All right. Now, we still have our regular VIP package, which is still a better deal financially over time to just do it all at once. MB, as part of the subscription, there's no trial for if you're not wanting to be part of the VIP. We do not do a trial of the indicators. We found over many years that people didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know how to set them up. They didn't use them right. They're looking for the Holy Grail. So we stopped offering trials because they totally wasted our time. Because everybody has to license them. They have to be licensed. That's a manual process. And I would spend nothing but all my days licensing and unlicensing people. Money back? Sure, yeah. We'll give you a money back guarantee if they don't work. If the indicators don't do what we say they do. If they don't indicate that a condition exists, then sure. Any questions? We're at a good point for questions here. Oh, wait. I did have one more thing. The first 3 of you that do this subscription, we're going to waive the initiation fee and the setup fee and everything else. You know, all the fees that go with it. And so we'll just start you out with the subscription. Any other questions? You're welcome. I hope you found this interesting and compelling and something you want to look more into or look into more. All right. Well, Connor and Lisa are standing by. I'm sure you did. Connor and Lisa are standing by. They'll be here for a while. Feel free to send an email or go to the website. And when you hit our website, a little chat thing pops up. And Connor and Lisa are actually on the other side of that that little pop-up thing. Here's what the pullback bundle is. That on here? Here's what the pullback bundle includes. You get the speed tick, ricochet, flash, first touch, our super divergence indicator, which you didn't see much of today, the Mometer, velocity, McDiver, and Obos. You get a free month in the room if you're one of the. Well, I think we only have like 2 left. We offered for the first 5, but I think we had like 3 people get the bundle on Thursday. So I think we got like 2 more. You get a month in the trade room, and if you want to have a meeting with me to discuss some of your issues with trading, I'll be happy to talk with you also. Yeah, and just Bus, if you want to hit up Lisa or Connor, just send them an email or go to the chat and they'll hook you up. We've seen you in the room, hanging out in the room. I hope you've enjoyed it. Life, that's those are lifetime licenses. Once you bought it, you own it. Free updates too. Whenever we come out with a new version, or if we upgrade it or update it for any reason, you get those for free also. All right. Any other questions? Everybody, that made sense to you, I hope. All right. Well, let us know if you have any questions, any gray areas, anything you'd like to discuss. We got an open door here, so just let us know. And thanks for hanging out with us here on a Saturday. I know there are lots of other things that you could be doing on a weekend, and we appreciate you spending some time with us. So we're here to help, and just let us know if we can. And I hope we get to see you all very soon. Bye now.